Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We got another guest for you today, an important one actually, because he was a very important part to make this festival happen. But I'm gonna let him introduce himself, man. Who do I got here today?
Man, what's going on? First and foremost, I am a partner and friend of OC. You understand what I'm saying? And that's my most important title, you know. But I'm Dizzi Davis of Aeronotiqz, Aero Life.
Aeronotiqz.
Yes, all day, every day. And I sure do appreciate you having me here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I mean, you've been definitely a friend of mine for years now, and actually, like, I feel like we've gotten closer over the years. And you're definitely a person whose drive inspires me to like work, because you are constantly working. Like this past week, I mean, Chill Sounds was just this weekend, and you were in another state like right before. Like so
yeah, we had another show that same night.
Yeah, literally the same night.
Before up in Dallas at the same time, and then I was in Memphis the night before.
Yeah,
I came from Memphis, and then the night after Chill Sounds, we had to go to Houston.
You've been busy, like, and Aeronotiqz has been busy, and you guys have been throwing a lot of shows. How's that kind of been keeping that sort of schedule? It's definitely grown, and you guys are constantly like moving now and doing other stuff. How's it being able to do stuff out of state and consistently? Like I think now.
I mean, the reasoning behind it is we really want to keep up that momentum. I think it's very important, even if it's just in a metaphysical sense, to really take advantage of the momentum while it's there. Because, things do get stagnant to a certain point, or you at least reach a plateau. So just keeping up with the schedule, really, I mean, it's not easy, especially we all have our personal lives and other things we do. You know what I'm saying? But we want it, and then you also look at it like being busy doesn't necessarily equate productivity. And I think sometimes, especially as like entrepreneurs, or I think like you said earlier, like project-driven people, we have that proclivity to spread ourselves thin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just in the name of being busy because you feel productive. But I mean, I think everything we've done so far, I don't think any of it's been for nothing at all. Even if it's like not a gain in one aspect, maybe we got to a new venue, we met some new artists, we made some new clothing sales. There's people several continents where Aeronotiqz closed. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of it, that incentive for us, and growing. We're on that stage where we just want to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah,
and we got a long way to go.
I definitely feel like you guys have been doing that. I mean, first of all, like Aeronotiqz, when I first started like actually hearing about it, because I heard you guys through DJ, is where like I met you, and then and actually ended up meeting Tyron, and like the whole like Aeronotiqz was because like I think we Under Oblivion was. You put us on like a show with like you guys, and that was the first time I saw him. I was like, what is Aeronotiqz? Is it just a production company? It's like, no, like, and I saw like, I went to the venue and you guys like were selling clothes, like your own clothing. I was like, oh, it's a clothing brand. It's like, oh, not just a clothing brand. Like they're getting into shows, and I feel like you guys are adding just more and more to kind of like the business. But at the root of it, like what did it start as?
So, I mean, it started as an idea. And it started before I became a part of Aeronotiqz. Before I became part of Aeronotiqz, it started with Tyron, Tough Daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Tyron, shout out
to Tyron. Of course, he's big. Shout out to that. I mean, he's instrumental to everything that goes on. Him and another partner I have he's on my first project, J Steez, PJ.
Oh, okay.
It started with him, and I think it was PJ's project, and then Tough Daddy grew it. So, but it started off as clothing, and then it just grows. This is the number one rule in business: find the problem. Right, is what I've heard some people phrase it. It's like, okay, we have the clothes. How are we going to get the clothes? We need some models. Okay, how else can we get it out there? Okay, let's get some rappers. Okay, dang, well, these rappers need to get videos. Okay, well, we can get behind videos. All right, well, these rappers, they need to perform. All right, well, we can throw some stuff together, and have them wear the clothes. Okay, well, we need to get more people to wear the clothes. So we start, and when I came is when we did our first tour. Because expansion is always big on my brain. Yeah. So when I came, we did the first tour, you know what I'm saying? And it was like the artists wearing it. And then it goes from there. And then it's like some of the artists fell off or they transitioned on to other things, excuse me. And so then that's when like I dropped the project, and then we just did it off of my back. And then Clay West pushed things, with his brand. And then D-Money and, the Murder Munchies, the Wanda Johns, Conspectual. But that's just how it grew. That's how it grew.
So that's, I mean, even now where you're talking about, like, you know, like you find your wins where like maybe you get a new venue and new things learning. I feel like that's kind of the attitude you guys have had since the beginning and how like the network has grown. You know what I mean? Like it's all me and DJ were talking about the other day, but it's all networking. It's like getting to know people, figuring out how to get your, you know, your product into, like, how do we advertise it more? Oh, okay, you start meeting, like, you know, musicians and rappers and stuff like that, and how to get them to wear it. And then they're wearing it, like, oh, how do we, you know, help them out? And then like the stuff with the videos and the shows. And you guys have kind of like primarily started and have been in like hip hop for the most part at the, like, you know, at the start, at the like the conception of like of Aeronotiqz and stuff when you guys are getting to that. But recently you've been getting into like a little bit like different genres and things like that, right?
Well, we've been doing, I mean, subgenres of hip hop. We've touched all the subgenres. We've never like really put ourselves in any specific niche. We've done everything from the backpacker raps that help us get to the intellectual, you know, lyrical, spiritual, miracle, spherical people or whatever. We've done more like, you know, urban, more street rap. We've done like the alternative rap, the jerky rap, and then we've been doing R&B as a staple for some years now. Yeah. Every year we definitely have R&B, but yeah, we've definitely done more and more bands. I think you guys, when UO, Under Oblivion, that show you're talking about at Lola's. Yeah, at Lola's. I think that may have been our first flirtation with bands, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and then afterwards, that's always been the goal. Like, I want mariachis, I want, you know, reggaeton, I want country, I want blues, you know. There's a guy, his last name is Wimberly, shout out to him. He plays hip-hop on the violin, and I've really been trying to get him on something. At the Mike Jones show.
That's right. That's what I was about to say. Like, yeah, you got him to play the little Mike Jones, like, intro there.
So that's just all, that just goes with the expansion. Like, that's all it is, you know. And because from a fiscal perspective, I mean, right there, those people have money in their pocket too, you know. But also, it's like from just a brand standpoint, you know, because the brand is bigger than us. There's people who can see the Aeronotiqz and not associate it with myself or Tough Daddy, you know, or anybody who's ever worked with us. The brand itself is taking on its own life, and because it's a brand or an entity as opposed to an individual, right? It's so fluid. Like, its identity can
you're able to break, it's really it's able to break into like pretty much anything, because it's not a person, it's not just one subcategory. You realize how it can just like spread across like everything. It's just like, you know, if we're doing shows, like it literally can be associated with any type of show. You know what I mean?
The shows and
the association with, like, you know what I mean, like with Chill Sounds, it completely like explains that was an entirely like, you know, mixed genre show, and you have like a whole
super eclectic.
You know,
DJ's a fucking genius.
DJ, we don't give him enough credit. I feel like he's like, you know, he has that fear with ego and stuff like that. I was like, dude, like, do you see what you did? Like, you have to like accept the credit as far as like what you've done, and like what he did like was create a moment and like an experience for people to come together that wouldn't normally listen to like any of this other stuff. Like the type of like just different crowds that like show up and hung out and just had a moment where they were all together and this and that. You start realizing how mixed genre shows should be a bigger staple, a bigger thing, because you got to think about your own music taste. Like, I know personally, like from you, like whenever we talk about music and we listen to like what influenced like this song, I mean, even your music that you work on yourself is like so like different from each other. You're always trying to push it, but it's because you have so much musical influence that you take into a part. Like that's how the regular person listens to music. It's like they listen to so many different things. Like, why wouldn't you want to go to a show where you have that kind of laid out for you as well, where like, oh, I don't listen to just one genre of music or one type of band or you know, one type of,
the casual listener isn't like, excuse me for interrupting you.
No, you're...
but the casual listener isn't like the artist, right? Was like who's really into Cajun, bluegrass, some kind of variant of, you know, whatever country music, you know, and if it's not that, he's not dealing with it, you know, or if it's not heavy like Death Clock, you know what I'm saying? Then I love that reference because that's probably done the heaviest I'll ever go.
Death Clock.
You know what I'm saying? If
that's
it's not Death Clock, then boys ain't finna. Most people aren't just like, all right, you know what? If it's, you know, you have some people who are like those people who are like, oh, Metallica, no way, too commercial, or the same thing with with Drake. I'll use Drake as a good example, right? Because Drake makes good music, and I can see why some people aren't into him. But there's like the people who really kind of like disdain him, but they're not the casual listener. The casual listener definitely loves Cardi B, and a song from Pooh Shiesty, and also probably a Tim McGraw song brings tears to their eyes.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And they've probably been to a party and drank to a Bad Bunny song, or to Tigres del Norte or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
That's the one you cry to.
Yeah, that's the one you cry to. Them real tears, you know.
But
yeah, the casual listener is very eclectic in their, I think, in their music choice, and I think DJ is a genius for doing that. And that's the whole point behind the name, Chill Sounds and Breakdowns, kind of trying to encapsulate everything. DJ that was crazy. It was very successful. I'm very proud of him. And you mentioned ego. People like that. I always say it's people like that, because I know a lot of people who are like just really driven. I would even associate you in this category. And this is just off the top of my head, but I would associate you with that category. Like, there's a certain amount of ego that successful people have to have, because to even take on something, you have to have some kind of ego. You know, you have to have an ego that says, this is why I think I'm not a psychologist, so what do I know? But you have to have a certain amount of ego that says, you know what, no, I could get that done.
Because that's what separates people from who get it done and who don't get it done, which is one of the things we were talking about. It's like, there are only a certain amount of people that actually saw what you were trying to do and actually believed that you could get it done. And for the most part, like, a lot of that was just you. You know what I mean? Like, because you have you had the vision of stuff. And I feel like even with me, when he would talk to me, he's like, "Oh, you're trying to do that." But for a second, I would be like, "That's kind of crazy." But then I was like, "Who am I talking to here?" Like, okay, like, I know that you're gonna like try to get this done no matter what. But it takes that much. It takes you having a, you know, for what lack of a better, like, ride your own dick, like, all the way to, like, be able to believe in yourself,
right,
to actually get this stuff done. Because if you are already doubting it, like, it's not gonna happen. Like, it takes somebody to be like, to, you know, shoot for the damn stars and just, you know, figure out how to get there along the way. You know what I mean? And you might not get all the way there, but you'll get way past wherever you thought you were gonna end up with, or some other person thought you were gonna end up with. And I feel like Chill Sounds and Breakdowns, even after its first iteration, you know, was just like, pretty much just was like a mixed genre show, and that's kind of where it ended. We had a little bit extra, you know, like initially planned there, but at the root base, it was just a show at a cool venue. And the transformation from that to like the second part of that is like insane how like that grew, like just like in an amount of crowd alone that came like to see it, like it definitely over doubled like the amount of people that we got out the first one.
And then it's not like, you know, it's just a bunch of the homies who came through. You know, the hood came through the show. Yeah. There's people who wouldn't recognize, you know, any of us. You know what I'm saying? Myself, DJ, Tough Daddy, whoever, they wouldn't recognize, you know, couldn't tell us apart from a can of paint.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? They're just there because off of the inertia the event generated on its own. You know, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
That's when you know you have something. And then also, like I was saying, you know, for people to get things like that done, especially at this time, first of all, they have to do it. There's like the Chinese proverb. It was like, the man who says something can be done shouldn't interrupt the person doing it. You know, I don't know if you ever heard that.
I've never heard that, but that makes perfect sense.
Right, yeah, right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And also, when people are born like that, which I think you have to be born, or there has to be some really life-altering, I guess, events that made you that way. And by the time you get to, like, you know, your later teens, at first it might be, you know, ego, but after that, I think, like, especially early 20s, it's never baseless. Like, you've displayed competence in something along those lines. You know, maybe it wasn't a slam dunk, you know what I'm saying, but you display competence somewhere, and that gives you a reason. That feeds your ego, and that gives you a reason. Okay, maybe it wasn't perfect this time, but I can go bigger.
Yeah, it's your previous accomplishments, but more than that, your previous failures. Like, it's how to figure out, like, oh, okay, I did this, and yes, let's celebrate this part, but let's figure out how to fix the fucked up part, the part that, like, didn't work. Okay, with that amount of experience and working on it over and over, gives you the confidence to be like, oh, I can get something like this done, because I've already fixed all these failures before and know and learned from this, and that's what I need to build this. And then you figure out from that one, like that one doesn't work out perfectly, and then you figure out how to make it, from there and evolving. And I think that's an attitude that this like festival has had, and like Daniel's had, and I know that you have with Arrow and with your music, with everything you do. It's like, how do I take what I've learned and build off from it? Because like I definitely have noticed that, in like what Arrow's been doing like lately. Like I've just like been looking at like the shows, like you guys based on like the shows when like I started like first learning about you guys, and like growth, man. Like that's at the base root of it. That's like what you see. It's like, oh, like just the juxtaposition between those two like experiences and shows and the brand itself and like what you guys have created. Like you said, it's no longer like, oh, Aeronotiqz, yeah, that's my friend Dizzi's company, or that's Tyron's company, or that's this person's company. It's like, no, Aeronotiqz, oh, they're the ones that threw this show. Oh, they're the ones that were out here doing this like the other day. It's more of like, you're right, it's an entity now. It's become its own like thing. It's no longer just associated with like, oh, this is like what my friend's doing. It's like, no, this is a company that's making these events, doing these things, like accomplishing these things at its own. Like it's becoming more. And like I said, it's just this growth thing that's really nice to see and just like amazing to see. And it's very driven. Like I'm like, you're one of the people that actually like inspires me all the time, from like how busy you always are. Like you're always doing something. You're always like going somewhere. You're always in another city or working. Like currently, I've never seen you like just stand still, in a moment. And that's, I think, one thing you have. But it's not, like you were saying, it's not just being busy to be busy. It's you are being busy with purpose, which is what we were just talking about.
Trying to be.
Trying to be. Like
that's
it's
the intention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like you said, like I said, going full circle. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to conflate being busy with being productive, because in many cases that can be counterproductive, right?
Yeah.
But if you're going in and you've made it like an objective to, no matter what happens, to like continue to develop your discernment. And then the momentum part, the reason I mentioned momentum, because whatever you believe in, you know what I'm saying, you still, I don't know, there's definitely an element of like serendipity, I guess is the word that I'm looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? Like you have your moment. You have several of them, but you take advantage of that momentum. As long as you're, discerning when it's just a no-go and when it's a for show and when it's a might be, I think that'll always help. And it's funny, like you say, I'm so busy, and I always feel like, man, what else could I be doing? Because if you ever seeing somebody like DJ too, they're and Tough Daddy's like that too. Like they're like, I mean, Tough Daddy's able to balance it a lot more now. You know what I'm saying? But some people like I see, and they like run themselves like until they drop. You know what I'm saying? Run themselves until they drop. And I don't go that hard. You know what I'm saying? At least not anymore. I don't run myself till I drop. But I definitely try to. Because, to us, time is of the essence. And then there's just so much going on, so much. And there's people who, like you, like you're doing this, and I'm so happy. Like, Lord knows I'm very happy. You know what I'm saying? I really see my place in that story. I really know how I can support you, especially once I kind of figure out, or I guess once you express exactly where you're going with it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want to be able to support. That's very big to me. That's something that I would love to put on my plate. Then, of course, there's the clothing part. There's me as an artist part. You know what I'm saying? There's the other endeavors that go on, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to go. There's people around you who inspire you. There's like a Murder Munchie, you know what I'm saying, and a Wanda John, who they mingle with, the upper echelons of the area. You know what I'm saying? I see them, and then they lean on me for certain things. They bang my line. I'm like, all right, I gotta come through, because those, you know what I'm saying, those are real ones. You know what I'm saying? Same with Tough Daddy. If you saw my phone, he'll tell you. DJ will tell you too. They get mad because I do not. You know what I'm saying? I do not respond. You see how I respond to this. I respond. Like right now, like if I look at my phone, and this is after I just cleared it out, I got 231 missed calls and 1,000 unread texts.
What? Oh my God.
I don't know if the camera can see that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
That's insane to me. Oh my God.
I get a lot. And then there's other things, I got going on. You know what I'm saying? Like how I work in the community and stuff, and, family life. You know what I'm saying? And then, other endeavors like with property and stuff. So I'm always doing something, but I don't run, as you can see, I don't run myself silly. I don't respond to everything. And I know that makes a lot of Munchie too. I was like, man, hey, I'm trying to talk to you about something. You know what I'm saying? But I be like, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? But I don't run myself silly. But I'm surrounded by so many great people, including yourself. It's like, okay, we got to make it happen. It's just like we got the we have everything. In my opinion, we have everything that that a Microsoft had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When all of the talent, the dedication, whatever they had going on in that garage, I feel like in our circle we have that.
It's just realizing that realizing that it can be done. Like, no matter what, like, you have equipment stuff, there's resources that you don't tap into and that you realize that you do have, and you have places where you can pull these things from. And realizing that just because you're looking, like, at where you want to go and realize, like, oh, look at these people, they're doing what I want to do. That's the type of podcast that I want to do. That's the type of show that I want to throw. This is where I want my brand to be. You can't get there without going through, like, the rough part of it, or starting off, like, in the nitty-gritty with, like, working with just what you have. Like, you know, if it's not gonna look like that end product, you're at least starting there and you start learning. Like, that's how, like, honestly, with this, like, I've never, like, in my life, like, run a podcast. Like, my only experience is that I listen to them. Like, I know a little bit about cameras that I've learned over the past year by, like, running a vlog that I like doing, just enjoy doing, and I realized, like,
awesome
okay.
vlog.
But and all that stuff, like, for me was like, oh, that was just for me. That was just being silly. That's being funny because I enjoy doing it. And then realizing, like, oh, like, when I did the first one and like edited and did everything, I was like, I have, like, gained skills that I'd, like, if you would ask me if I had them, because I know you, and we've talked about this, so we've had, like, ideas and stuff. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And then I'll just try it and be like, oh, like, it turned out like this. Like, it turned out pretty well. Like, okay, build from that. Like, there's always, like, stuff to build from. It's just whether you're going to be, like, have the courage to actually build. And then it's just, yeah, you are definitely one of those people that, yes, is working, and you work with purpose, but there's a way to get there, and we definitely have, like, the talent around here to do it. Like, that's one thing with, like, Chill Sounds and even this podcast. I realize, I'm like, oh, because one of my thoughts is, like, what if I don't have, like, anybody to come by? What if I don't know enough? And I realized, like, how many people I know that do something. And Chill Sounds was a really, like, good showing of that, because I'm like, oh, like, those vendors, I knew some of them and some of them I didn't. I'm like, oh, let me get to know them. Let's find out. Like, this is all here. You know what I mean? This is not even, like, I don't even have to walk, like, you know, I don't have to drive not even 5 minutes to, like, see, right, like, all this, like, talent and people creating things and making things and doing their own business and hustling. Just, like, people are out there doing it. And, like, again, they just add, like, that fuel to that fire and be like, oh, okay, they're doing it. Look what they are. They got there by starting off, like, doing, you know, not as well. You're starting in the garage, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, doing whatever you need
and
to get there.
DFW, quote me on this. DFW, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, for DFW is the next. It's bigger to me. The only thing we just lack is the scenery, you know? But DFW is going to be bigger than LA. It's going to be bigger than New York. I think even combined. Like, we have the population. So, I mean, obviously that increases the probability of the talent. We have the talent. We have the resources, and people are starting to kind of put that creative infrastructure down.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to Creators Don't Die, Mecca Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's my dog. You know what I'm saying? Years on the road with that dude. So, we have it, and all we got to do is just lift it up. And I think here, I mean, what do we got, like 10 million people in the whole DFW, something like that?
I think so.
And then as it starts to bleed into Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying? It's insane. I mean, we can, and then we're importing talent from, you know, the other corners of the continent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we got everything, you know? And then it even doesn't matter. DFW might not be the easiest on the eyes as far as the backdrop, but I mean, we got Galveston, we got El Paso, we get mountains this way, that way, we get swamps this way, we get prairie this way. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot going on here. So I think that there are going to be, man, we've already got so many millionaires. It's so easy to make money here.
Yeah.
It's really crazy how easy it is to make money here. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, we've got so many people who I think who've already made so much money, but we got a lot of upcoming successful people. I don't want to, you know, quantify with money, but we've got a lot of upcoming successful people.
Yeah, because I was talking to somebody, and I was like, you know what? It's crazy, because I was like, oh, okay, people, like, this is just a local fest. I go, but what we don't realize is that our local DFW is gigantic.
That's what I was telling DJ, because I had like this dude, I think he was from one of the Carolinas. He was like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say it like that, but he was like, this is crazy. This is, and whatever, I don't know what part of Carolina he was from, which major city was closest to whatever town he was from. But he was like, this is nuts out there. And I think there was another person from some other state, but I think it was maybe like Virginia.
Yeah.
Maybe even West Virginia. I don't know, which would explain a lot. But he was also like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I just moved back here from, name your state. No, like, other places. I've been like, I don't want to hurt any feelings. All right? I don't want to hurt any feelings. But, man, I don't know, man. They're not doing it like us. And, what's, you seen Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
What do they call it? The ABQ?
Oh, Albuquerque?
Yeah, the ABQ, man. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, right, because this is a much bigger place.
Yeah, like we are definitely like, if you like grow up here and have been in this, like we are definitely like spoiled by the amount of like music and culture and stuff that comes around that we don't realize, like, because you can go to another like city and state and be like, oh, like you have like 2 venues in the whole town, or like there's only like a handful of like musicians that are actually like out there like doing something. When here, yes, you run into like there's so many of them and it's hard to stand out. But as far as like the pool of talent, there's so much to appreciate around. Just from like from a fan or a spectator part of it, or just like being able to go out any night of the week and catch someone doing music somewhere is amazing.
Somewhere here. And even though it's spread out, so like if you're from like a New York or something, you'd be like, well, you can't walk there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but,
I get that.
You can't walk there over here. But no, I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, that's also why expansion is at the forefront, you know what I'm saying, of our goals, because it is very, very easy, you know what I'm saying, to just stay in Texas.
Yeah.
Because and especially like with like artists, you know what I'm saying? I see this even with some bands, and I see it more and more with rappers. Once you get popping in Texas, you almost don't even feel the need to expand like that, because when you got Houston, the 4th biggest, sometimes depending on the year, the 3rd biggest city in the country, when you've got San Antonio up the road, just a couple million shy of whatever Houston population is, 4 million, 4 point some million. Then you got Dallas, you know what I'm saying? Then you've got Austin, millions. Then you've got DFW all together, which, you know what I'm saying, is like 11 million people. And that's not counting like the El Pasos, you know what I'm saying? That's not counting the smaller towns and all the colleges that we have here.
True.
You almost feel the need, and then, you might flirt with Louisiana. You might bat your eyes at Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying? You might say what's up to Arkansas, but you really almost never feel the need to leave, because there's so many ways to capitalize off of the space, the population, and the resources here, which is why like I've always kept it to the forefront, because I know artists, you know what I'm saying? And even like a lot of artists whose blueprints I followed, who I really look up to, they just do the Texas run. They're going to go hit South Padre during spring break. They're going to, get them a show in Houston, 3 times a year, something like that. They're going to do it in San Antonio. They're going to do it in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? They hit kind of the smaller clubs in Fort Worth, Arlington. They might hit that El Paso, hit that Austin, hit that Waco. You know what I'm saying? Go get to East Texas, go to Tyler, hit the college towns, Prairie View, Nacogdoches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Corpus Christi, you want to go make some money? Go to the Valley. They spend money like crazy in the Valley. The Valley is insane. I went to Corpus Christi once. It blew my mind. You know what I'm saying? Or twice. Been to Corpus Christi twice, and it blew my mind. The McAllen's just so... It's so much here. You almost say, "What do I need to go to Los Angeles for?" You know what I'm saying? Those crazy people. You
just gotta like take advantage. And like, I mean, I don't personally have any experience with LA, but it feels like people go out there and like, I feel like here you can get all that and then not kind of like lose yourself in like the LA of it all, like the Hollywood stuff, and you know what I mean. Like, it's from what I can see for the most part, like of people like when they like move out there and stuff like it's a whole different attitude. Where here, I feel like you can keep your like hometown feel, the roots and stuff like that, but still experience these shows and like the people and the scene that the LA is gonna offer you, and then like or like New York or anything like that, depending on what you're doing. Like I feel like you can find it here, and I think people do get spoiled by it and can be like, oh, like I can just stay here and like play these shows and just like, I mean, example like the shows that like you've been like throwing out in Houston and like out in like Dallas and stuff like that have been like just absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Like they've been crazy, and that's something that you can take advantage all in the same state. Like here, you can play those cities that you're talking about and still have incredible turnouts, incredible shows, all without leaving the state. You know, like it's insane.
And those cultural, like I guess that nuance, right? That you really have to recognize between like the kind of general, I guess, feel between here and there, like here in Los Angeles, use as an example. It's not arbitrary because it is much easier to stay here where you can find like the connection between people, you know what I'm saying? Just the way we interact. Because there is a difference between like the cultures, right?
Yeah.
Especially like if you get into like, you know, the industry or whatever. And then you head out there and not only just like just the laws, that'll like throw you off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you go out there from here and it's like, wait, well, we can't do what? Like or you're like, oh, if we get caught doing this is wrong, you know what I'm saying? Especially since, you know, COVID and everything happened. You know, the attitude towards things is very different.
COVID was pretty rough out there.
Like, yeah, I mean, look, we was in there last time. DJ was there. I think we were in San Diego.
Yeah.
We went to Mexico. We were in San Diego, and the Uber dude pulled up, and Tyrant, he ain't have a mask. And so he just tried to get in like this, and the dude was like, "Where's your mask, man?" And he was all like, "Oh, I don't have one." All right, close the door. I gotta go. Oh, no mask, no ride.
What?
Yeah, and we was kind of tripping, which you know, you never know. You know what I'm saying? Like for all you, dude could have all kinds of stuff going on to where he can't. You know what I'm saying? Have any slip ups. So it's all good. But in Texas, like in Memphis, or just the South, I just use Memphis. We were in Memphis. I had an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, and he was like, "Hey man, you ain't gotta wear that if you don't want to, man. You know what I'm saying? I got my shot, man. That's what
I got my shot.
The people gave me my shot, man. I don't know what was in it, but I got my shot. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just the attitude is, I mean, that's just really different. That has to do with, like, of course, geopolitics, regular politics, you know what I'm saying? But I won't lie, it is nice out there. I mean, if it wasn't for, like, certain things about California, I would love to live in, like, San Diego or something.
That's what I've heard about it, yeah, like, out there. That's why, like, I do want to see it, which I'm glad at the end of the month, I'll be flying out there and checking it out. I've never been out there. But I know, like, you've gone out there quite a bit. And even, like, DJ has told me, like, that as far as, like, weather and just, like, scenery and just being able to see stuff, it's, like, beautiful. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh, okay,
like,
yeah.
No, it's crazy. That's part of, and, you know, speaking of, like, Aeronotiqz done for me, like, I've got some, I know I've told you about, I've got a lot of visa things going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So one of them, too, like, I'm really trying to get, like, the Portugal one, because it's like California without the communism, and some people would say. No, I'm halfway kidding.
Halfway
kidding. You know what I'm saying? But no. I mean, yeah, it's really nice, and it just changes the attitude. And then, like I say, you know, just and then also like the scene. But also, I would say this, like specifically Dallas, maybe not so much Fort Worth, maybe not so much Houston, San Antonio a bit, but like I'll say Dallas is really similar to LA in the sense of like that, or just what we were talking about, chill sounds, which is the casual listener. So maybe I'm throwing over a generalized blanket, but is that mixed crowds. Because like in Dallas, we'll throw a show, and I mean you will have the hoodest of the hood. You know what I'm saying? You name your hood in DFW, name your North Side, name your Stop 6, name your the Grove, name your Oak Cliff, you know, Highland Hills, whatever. You can. That'll be in the same room as a bunch of kids from. They might even be from the same neighborhood. You know how it is here. You know what I'm saying? They might be from the same neighborhood. But he's wearing like a choker with a chain. He might have on lipstick. He wants to mosh, you know what I'm saying? And he's next to the dudes who are over there, you know, doing the Dougie, or the dudes who are too cool. They got too many guns on them to dance. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, then you also have some kids who went to a South Lake Carroll. You know what I'm saying? And they're in the same place. And I will say, like, Dallas specifically, you see it more. You see it also in like Fort Worth. You see it in DFW. You see a little bit in Houston. You see it more in San Antonio and Dallas and LA, where those people like mix up. You know what I'm saying? Those people mix up from the SoundCloud rappers to the trappers to whoever. They mix up and they come and show out. It's like the concert market here. You know, letting the cat out the bag, but I don't think it's a secret. You know what I'm saying? The concert market here is insane. It's insane.
The what here?
The concert market.
Oh, yeah.
It's nuts. I mean, that's why, like, any tour you ever see, I guarantee you, like, 8.5 out of 10. And I really almost want to go and say 9.5. But because it's off the cuff, I'll say 8.5 of the if anybody's on a tour from almost whatever genre, they're gonna stop in Dallas.
Yeah.
Or, it might be Arlington, you know what I'm saying? But they're going to stop in DFW.
But that's literally
You have
like
to.
the area that we have covers so much. Like they can stop Fort Worth, Arlington, or Dallas, and they're still like you're still getting the same crowd. You're still getting that whole area because none of those are like crazy far from each other where you're not gonna go like see your like favorite artist coming to town. That's actually like if someone's playing in Dallas that I really want to see, I'm like, oh, that's only in Dallas. Like it's 40 minutes away. I can drive there, whatever.
Right.
You know, if it's opposite coming in, if it's Arlington, whatever. Like and now that like music venues are popping up, bigger ones like the Toyota like pavilion now popped up now in like what that's Irving.
Is it Irving,
Arlington,
something
like that up there. But still, like like bigger venues are popping up now. We have the Dickies Arena here in Fort Worth.
Yeah, you see, they just put the Bull show. Like I guess they took it from Las Vegas.
Oh, the PBR, yeah. It's a PBR.
I don't know what it's called.
Something like that.
I don't know. You said BB something, and my brain went somewhere else.
PBR is a beer, but I think it's the name of that thing too. I don't know.
But they took it from Las Vegas, which where it's been since its inception.
I just saw
and now
it
it officially has a home. I don't know if it's true. I only saw this on Facebook.
I saw the announcement, like the announcement video and stuff. Yeah, they were announcing it.
That's big. You know what I'm saying?
That's a huge thing that's coming here.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. You see how they shooting. I don't know what the movie is, but they're shooting it in the stockyards.
Oh, the Yellowstone show. It's like a show on HBO Max or something like that. But it's got like
they have like big names in it. Like
it's got
Tim McGraw there.
Tim McGraw was there. I can't remember the other guy's name. But he's got the mustache.
With the mustache, Willie Nelson.
No.
With the mustache, he's a country singer.
No, he's not a country. He's just an actor. But anyways, yeah, they were doing it here, and I think they did a few things in Weatherford. But like part of the stockyards is like a whole set right now.
A whole set, right?
Yeah, right there on Exchange, like in the middle of like that whole thing. Like they're using that, you know.
Which is crazy because you and I know growing up, it was like, don't nothing ever happen here, bro. Don't nothing ever happen here, man. Nothing. You know.
It literally was that, but like stuff is getting revamped. The freaking like down in the stockyards, the damn ISIS theater just got remade, and now it's like hosting like all these things.
I remember passing Haltom Theater. You know what I'm saying? Whenever as a kid, you know what I'm saying, and it was like all in, disrepair. It was messed up or whatever, and now, we've done every Tuesday there this year. You know what I'm saying?
Now you've had like Mike Jones perform there.
Mike Jones, Bad Astronauts, you know what I'm saying? Jeff, all kinds of people, you know what I'm saying? And I remember even, what's the place we used to do on the west side of a Cambui? What's the name? The Wrigley. There you go.
Oh, Ridgely. The
Ridgely, yeah, you know what I'm saying? There too. You know what I'm saying? And what's it called? Like, I think, I know Paul Wall. It was just there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of legends and stuff. So yeah, a lot of everything's growing here, and we're glad to be growing with it. And then I'll say it, I definitely have reason to believe that we are part of pushing this forward.
Yeah,
I mean, there's places, and this is, and I'm actually saying this part for Tough Daddy. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen, because I'm a bit more quieter than him in that respect, but I've definitely seen how.
All right, we apologize about that cut. Had a little technical difficulty, but you were saying kind of having a big part of like
pushing this forward. Nah, 100%. And the justifications I have behind that statement are, I've seen venues that are very popular now that did, and this is just us playing our role. I'm not saying we need any flowers for it. I'm only mentioning our part in it.
Yeah.
But I've seen venues that are very busy now, that hold huge things now, huge festivals, whatever. And I remember when we were the ones who were doing things there when no one else was.
Yeah.
Right? And I've seen their price go up. Same with certain artists. You know what I'm saying? There's artists that we took either on their first tour or we got their first videos, or they were maybe one of the first artists we sponsored with the clothes. Or we just, through some of their biggest shows. And I've seen how they're on these lists and how they're on a different level, So I feel like we're a part of that.
No, definitely.
It makes me proud.
I would definitely say that, especially you guys are definitely a big part of that and the work that you've been doing, because you, like I said, you see it. You've seen your artists grow. You've seen especially the way, just the sheer work and volume that you guys are putting into all these shows, and that, the way you guys showed me a new way of throwing shows, especially when we so I think one of the first sorry, I think experiences I remember, like with you guys working with like DJ, was the Red Goose show, the
Drunk Punk Goose.
Yeah, Drunk Punk Goose, that one.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was like my first experience with it, and that shit was insane. That shit was crazy, and it was another like one of those mixed genre shows. Red Goose is a tiny venue that like hosted like very small artists and would bring out like a few people, but the fact that that place was packed out that night and was just, I was like, oh, it takes the right amount of work, the right amount of attitude to get these shows done. They can be done. That's one of the things that kind of flipped my switch on like the attitude of like throwing shows. I'm like, you can throw a successful show, and get people out. You know, get people out that wouldn't come to these shows and get it packed out if you create the right environment on it. If you deliver on these like shows and have the shows be lit and great and people have a great time and it spreads, and now people want to go to like Aero shows because like they know that when they show up, like it's gonna be a crazy crowd. Like Creators Don't Die, like that one show like that I help you work. Like that show was insane. Like when I looked inside there, like that whole like I was like, oh, I'll run the parking lot, and the parking lot was full in like, I don't know, the first like half hour to like an hour of being there. Like I didn't even have to work the parking lot because I was like, I ran out of space. Like find somewhere to park like over there. Like it filled up so fast. And you guys have that experience with like similar experience with like all these shows that you guys throw where they just like pack out, because I feel like people are associating the brand with like that type of show. Like that type of show is going to be good. Like I want to go to that and be part of that like event, because I know like if I go, it's going to be a great time. And I think you guys have definitely like very like well have like created that that association with your brand, and very like very well earned, because you guys have proven it over again and know how to put on these shows, and have learned, like I said, from other shows that you guys have thrown and just gotten better at it. So I definitely think you guys are definitely a big driving force in like what the shape of like, you know, concert venues and things are going.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
absolutely.
You. And even though I feel like this is, because I mean, like I said, we are in a special moment in history. We have momentum, but I also, even though I think it's kind of like tacit, I'll go ahead and say it, you know, explicitly, like, well, it's also, you know what I'm saying, it's that formula. You know, it's that formula. It's because it's, I mean, the luck, right? Like the serendipity, that's it, or the lack of luck. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing, and that's a part. The artist, you know, that's a part. The venues, everything's a part. But I think the true connective tissue that allows all those tendons to form a muscle that does its job is 100% the work we've put in, and our understanding of the market and our understanding of how I'm going to do things, because there's a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, who do what we do on every front, you know, especially in a place this big. You're going to always have a lot of people who do what you do. Mm-hmm. You know, you sing, there's going to be a bunch of singers. You make clothes, a lot of people make clothes. You cut hair, a lot of people cut hair. You know what I'm saying? You, whatever. You're a teacher, a lot of teachers. You know what I'm saying? You throw shows, you rap, whatever it is you do. There are people who do it as well. And in a place like this, there's going to be a lot of people who do it, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like we're in like, whatever, pick your, you know, bum Egypt or whatever, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who do it, so it's taking years to get to this. And to be honest, we could, you know, part of it is also being stubborn too. We could be a lot bigger, but we do our thing. Mm-hmm. And one of these days, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna, well, when our time comes, you know, Lord willing, I don't know. I think people are gonna kind of trip out, like see where we start to where we end up. You know, and shout out to the Smooth Vegas. Shout out to the Immortal Soldiers. I don't know. I've given them shout out on camera before, but I'll do it here too. You know what I'm saying? They're a big part of us, even though I think I've seen them growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like selling their CDs in the hood, but I think like in person, I think I maybe seen them like 3 or 4 times. Yeah. But they're a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Because the day they decided to stamp one of the songs that I did. You know what I'm saying? That changed that honestly changed the whole course of Aeronotiqz. Same with Smooth Vega. You know what I'm saying? Like that changed the whole course, because that was a market we weren't doing, because we were really like Dallas, till I came in. You know what I'm saying? And then we did the first tour when I came in, and then because we did a little bit of Fort Worth in the beginning, like the Aardvark, kind of like that TCU area.
Aardvark, man.
What you know about that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's an old one, man.
Yeah,
right
you know
there
what I'm saying.
in TCU
The
area,
Grotto, all kinds of other places.
Oh my gosh.
You know, but them, you know, throwing us that bone, so to speak, helped us. Well, it helped me as an artist, obviously. You know what I'm saying? I still get a lot of love. It's truly based off of the support that they gave me. They gave me to a new market.
Yeah.
Like, I was already doing my thing, no doubt, but they gave me that stamp, and I appreciate them for eternity. But that helped us move more into Fort Worth. You know, and of course, Wanda John Murder Munchie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was with Murder Munchie the other day. I need to give him his flowers, too, because I was in a studio with him the other day, and him, Wanda John, and then, you know, his artists, you know, PB, Greg, we got another one, Rod, BG Rod, and then, you know, Solo Lucci. He was in there. Solo Lucci got, like, songs with Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? Videos with Chris Brown.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he pops in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they be with, like, Half Pint and all them other people. You know what I'm saying? Big Ava, all kinds of other, you know, great artists that we got. Which, I mean, those are all associated with, like, the bigger names, right? The Yellow Beezies, the Mo 3s, the Trap Boy Freddies, the Yayos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and they've given us this, they definitely help with, like, you know, they played their part. That's what I said. They played their part, you know?
Yeah, so. You play their part, and you're talking about, like, earning that stamp, like, on your tracks, which that too, just seeing you, like, work, and I mean, luckily, like, this over the past year, like, I've gotten to see you work a little more closely on, like, your writing, and that, again, it's just your same work ethic applies to, like, the way you write, like, music, and it honestly, like, I just, like, that's why I sit in on a lot of, like, your sessions, and just to see you write, because you come in with, like, an idea, and by the end, I see you record, like, 2 or 3 songs, like, that day, and that, to me, like, me being a songwriter too, like, it takes me months to get something done, and for it to be cohesive, and the way, like, you can piece things together, like, I'm just, like, sitting there, I'm, like, and admiring, I was like, how do you work that in your mind? So, like, your writing process is very, very interesting to me, because, like, I just, like, it's one thing I actually touched up on with Ryker when we were talking about, it's, like, co-writing songs and just, like, writing with other people. Helps kind of build your own writing up. So that's why, like, I really was, like, fascinated into watching you, like, write and how you approach things, because it helps me look at things from a different angle and how to write something. But as far as, like, in your music, I guess, like, now we can move on to that. Your music endeavors. I know you've, like, been working kind of nonstop, and I think from what I know, like, you're sitting on a quite a bit of music, like, currently, like, are you planning, like, anything releasing soon or anything with that, or?
So I guess that's where I lack. You know what I'm saying? Definitely as an artist, like, dropping stuff. Like, this year I dropped Black Men Don't Cheat. I dropped Favela Flow. These are all the music videos I've dropped anyway.
Yeah.
Black Men Don't Cheat, Favela Flow. I know I dropped something else. It's just not coming to my brain. Then I'm gonna drop, like, something else. But yeah, I like to sit on a bunch of music, because when it's that time, like I said, it's momentum.
Yeah.
You know, because there's 2 ways I guess you can, like, perceive momentum, I guess, or how to take advantage of momentum. Like, either build it up, you know what I'm saying, or take advantage of it when it's there.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting on the momentum. But I also, like, I love just to record. Like, I love to make music. Like, if I could, I would just make it every day. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like, I know, you know what I'm saying, I like to make different kind of music. You know what I'm saying? I like to, like, if you even go, like, you know, through my first project, Arrow Afterlife, you know what I'm saying? Like, from Side Nigga Nation to North Side.
It's got one of the catchiest hooks of all time.
You know what I'm saying? I love making, and then, like, the stuff we've done here, like Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Black Men Don't Cheat, Favela Flow. Like, I like music a lot, you know. I like a lot of alliteration. I like a lot of illusions. Obviously, I always love to reference other people's work in my work, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna drop some of it. I just like to get the videos built up, you know, and everything built up, and then just launch it. Because as I start to rub shoulders with different folks, you know what I'm saying, and have the opportunity to perform in front of bigger people. Because, you know, I perform often, and I'm, you know, sometimes in front of huge crowds, sometimes it's in front of smaller crowds. You know what I'm saying? In Fort Worth, they always show me love. Dallas, I get love in Dallas too. You know what I'm saying? I get some love in Dallas too. San Antonio showed me a lot of love. LA, I get some love. You know what I'm saying? I get plays out in LA. I've hit there enough. I get some love out there. So I'm gonna start dropping more. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, you know, it's just about when I'm ready to go, just making it be consistent. That way, it's, you know, we got 50 locked and loaded. So, and if I just keep working like how I'm working, then it'll never stop. You know, kind of like that Lil Wayne approach, I guess.
Yeah, just kind of right.
You just go and go and go and go. But since I don't have the luxury maybe to just always just completely dedicate myself to just making music, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe I do have the luxury, maybe I just don't have the commitment.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it all backed up that way when I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm going for years on end. This is going to
You want to pick you also want to pick your moments, and I feel like that's kind of like what you're doing. You're waiting for the moment where you're like ready, like, okay, the momentum has been built, or like the moment is here, like, to do it, but you want to make sure that you can, if you're going to start dropping stuff, that you're going to be able to keep consistent with it and drive the force kind of thing. I guess, like, you want to, if you're dropping music, you want to be able to actually, like, take advantage of, like, okay, I'm dropping music, that means I'm going to take advantage and play more shows and, like, do this and have, like, a whole, like, plan set up. Not just, like, just start dropping stuff at random and just, like, let it sit and simmer with people. Like, you have, like, which is cool because you have, like, you have a plan that you're kind of waiting on just to implement. That's kind of just what it feels like, is that you have this music, and I'm like, yeah, like, I could just start dropping stuff. Yeah, it's been written, you know, and it's been, like, recorded. But, like, again, it goes back to, like, not just working to stay busy, but working with purpose. Like, I want to drop this music because there's a point to it. Like, I have a purpose to, like, I'm going to start playing shows. I'm going to do this, or I have plans for this. And then that you actually have, like, a purpose for, like, what your music is, which, again, it's music that you work on, that you know, dedicate time to. You want to make sure that it gets the love that it deserves and the worth it deserves, and, like, what the work that you put into it. You don't want to just
exactly gets I mean, you know, as an artist too, you know what I'm saying, gets like it didn't have to necessarily be appreciated, but, you know, gets heard, right? I mean, that's why I think 50 Cent said that one time. I don't know if he said it about, like, Nas or somebody. He was like, I don't know who it was, but he was, whoever the artist he was talking about said, like, oh, you know, whatever, this album didn't sell well because I made it for me. And then I think 50 said, which, I mean, he's a commercial giant, so he would say this, but I think 50 said, like, if that music was just for you, you should have stayed in the basement and listened to that shit in your headphones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, is it getting it out? You know, like, and I got core people, you know, who I definitely need to take care of, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my hood loves me, you know what I'm saying? Like, 100%, they, you know, shout out to the North Side, you know what I'm saying? They love me, like, a lot. Show me a lot of love, spend a lot of money with me, stream my stuff, tag me and everything, come up in my face when they're drunk, if I'm at, like, the Walmart on Jacksboro, and just hard head, like, go up to other people, you know what I'm saying, and do it, you know what I'm saying? I get shown a lot, shut my haters down, you know what I'm saying? I get a lot of love in the hood, so you always got to take care of, like, your, you know, your diehard fans too. But, you know, like I said, like, the word of the day, expansion. You know what I'm saying? That's the big thing, growth.
Which goes with everything, because I know, like, some of the new songs, like the ones that you've recorded, kind of, like, delved into that, you know what I mean? Like, I know Black Men Don't Cheat was, like, you digging into, like, your singing a lot more that you had been working on, and that's, like, an expansion in itself, you know, that now, like, you're spreading it into, like, a lot more things. I know you're recording, like, songs now, you learning languages, and, like, I know, like, Spanish is one that you're, like, fluent in, and, like, Portuguese I think you're learning, and then you're kind of, like, working that out, so that I know you've, like, have written, like, some music, like, delving into, like, that kind of, like, learning that you did, another expansion, another branch off of that, you know what I mean? Like, you learned another language, so, like, oh, okay, why couldn't I make music in that language that I just learned?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're, like, you're just doing it, you know what I mean? Which adds to just your learning, your expansion, your, you know, just growth overall, and as an artist, you know what I mean? Even, like, whatever may come of those songs, like, you're writing them is a big part of it, just because you can get that idea out. Like, even whatever, you know, may come of that song later, or whatever you've written, I feel like the fact that you took time to write a song and put it out, and write a song, record it, and work on it, that's, like, the amount of effort that like, talent, or, you know, new learning that you did, you like, oh, I learned something, I actually like made something with what I learned, you know, and applied it to something. So you at least give it that respect to it, you know, to that project. It's like, oh, I respected that learning enough that I actually like put it to practice in something. Like,
And there's that artistic motivation behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know, you would certainly appreciate like nice numbers, making some bread off of it. You know, 100%. But there's also like okay, for example, whoever, I don't know who originally wrote Hallelujah.
yeah.
And I don't know if you know who originally wrote Hallelujah, right? But most of us
Jesus?
know yeah, maybe it was Jesus. But maybe what's the dude's name? Jeff Buckley, is that how you say his name?
Jeff Buckley, I think so.
All right, that's how, I've never actually heard. I've only read it in the YouTube title, but, or like on Apple Music or whatever. But I mean, he immortalized that song, right? Like that song will probably always be more closely associated with him than the original writer. But I mean, there's got to be some satisfaction. I mean, unless you're a complete narcissist, there's got to be some satisfaction. Which I mean, I wouldn't even see how that wouldn't feed your ego if you wrote that song. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Buckley interpreted it, but whoever wrote it, you know, is immortalized as well.
Yeah.
Even with the because Bob Dylan wrote All Along the Watchtower, right?
Get out of my brain, dude. Why was I about to bring that example up? Because I was like, it's a first example. All like the Jimi Hendrix version of that song is like the one that you jam. But I remember when I was like, oh, like I looked, I was like, this is a great song, and it's like, oh, Bob Dylan wrote it, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, and it's always gonna be, no matter like how good that Jimi Hendrix version is, like Bob Dylan wrote that song. You know what I mean? Like, so it's at one point
and
he
that's
gets
like
it.
influence.
Yeah.
Like, even like I use a Zero, since Zero is one of my favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? A Zero song is almost for show. I mean, a Zero song, not like Zero is definitely gonna use like he's gonna flip an old song. You know what I'm saying? Because he likes to sing. He's gonna flip an old song, right? He is very likely he might have a line or even more from a Scarface, from a Tupac. And then even a Tupac, we use a Tupac. Tupac is gonna have, maybe not from artists, but he's gonna have it like from a Machiavelli, Shakespeare, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's drawing like sometimes, I mean, just directly, almost verbatim from that, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a sense of satisfaction that comes from that too. So you know, even when you put something out, it may not do exactly what you want it to do, but you never know who catches that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, yeah, like even like in a small capacity, that like I feel like with like our like my band that I used to have with Under Oblivion, like there's a song that we've written, and one of my friends who's got another, like they have like an acoustic group, like I mean Under Oblivion was metal, and he's got like an acoustic group, and he was like playing a song, and there was like a melody that caught my attention. And he's like, I talked to him, I was like, hey, that part's really cool, this and that. And he's like, you know where I got that from? And I'm like, where? And he points it out. It's a reference to like a melody that I had written in one of our songs. And I was like, he's like, yeah, I like kind of like drew inspiration from that and stuff. And I'm like, so as small as I think that like our band was and like what we did, like it's still an influence. Like that's why like
exactly.
That's why it does come to a bit of like narcissism when you think like, no, my stuff is mine. Like, I'm not influenced by anything. Like, that's impossible. Like, it's impossible because that's all you are. It's an amalgamation of everything you've ever listened to and experienced stuff. And it's not always even, one of the things we've like touched upon, I think with a few people now, is that it's not even always like something you're trying to emulate or sound like, but it's a feeling. It's an experience. It's like, I remember how I felt the part when I listened to this part of this song, and like, I want to do that. I want to make one of my songs do that to somebody else, you know what I mean? Or to me or whatever. I want to have that feeling in it. But that's all it is. Like all your music that you write, you draw from somewhere. And I know we have we have a lot of times where we figure out like, oh, we wrote this, like, where's this from? Like, where do we get this from? Where's this idea from? And it's always we find like a way.
Yeah,
like
I was gonna mention that. I don't know if y'all know OC has like the greatest ears. Like his ears are a reservoir of
I just
knowledge.
Keep a whole bunch of random like information because it's all like sounds sometimes. It's like, oh, you know what that sounds like, or the pattern of this, like it's from this. And it's not like I used to when we first started writing music. I used to think that was a bad thing. I was like, fuck, like it sounds like.
Why am I not original?
Yes, you know, like why can't I?
Why did I not invent the wheel, bro? Why did I not invent the wheel?
But again, like it adds to that's all that is like it's less of a oh, you're like stealing from someone. It's more like a compliment because I like honestly like every time that happened, I didn't do it consciously. It was just like that's where I drew my inspiration. Like this is the music that I was listening to. I was listening to this. So the fact that like I'm writing something along those lines or similar comes out is like it's obvious because that's where I'm drawing my inspiration from. That's what I've listened to that is allowing me to write now, which has grown. I've realized that like that spectrum has grown so much in like what I listen to because I have like a lot of like again with feeling like a lot of like when I wrote like the song that we wrote like Wasted Ages, I was like my thing was like vulnerability, and I'm like how do I get this song to feel that vulnerable, and what I drew from is like one of my favorite artists of all time, which no one's probably gonna get like the reference of why I like that vulnerability, but the person that taught me vulnerability was Juan Gabriel. Like my dude like is the king of doing like that, like making sure like the emotion is felt straight through, and I was like that's what I want. And I was like, so that song wasn't like I want that song to sound like him. It was like I want that song to make me feel like, or make people feel like the way this dude like every time he sings a certain part, like to make me feel. I was like, so that's the influence that I have, and it's all like that. Like we draw from everywhere, but I like that with you, like on your inspirations, like you sometimes like you come in and be like, oh, I heard this like song, and even if it's just like the title, like I don't want to drop any of the stuff that you haven't released yet, but there was one where you came with like the title of a song, and I was like, no, it has nothing to do with what that song was about, but the title inspired me to do like this song, and it was like I won't say, but you came like that, and it's like, oh, I have an idea like I completely drew off of just this name of this song, or the other one was like, oh, like this one had like this type of melody in it, and like I want to try to like do something like that. But I feel like you also obviously write music and you were influenced by stuff, but there's some of them where you purposely like I want to capture this.
Yeah. I straight like I look. So when Lil Wayne was doing his thing, I remember, and you know why I say Lil Wayne's one of the GOATs? You know what I'm saying? Because he's probably one of the only artists ever that I think I've had such an up and down relationship with, because I've went from like loving Lil Wayne to being like, man, Wayne trash.
Is it when he was trying to play that guitar with his thumb?
Well, actually, when he was playing the guitar, I thought he was cold. See, I didn't know.
That shit annoyed me like a mom.
Yeah,
like,
why
you playing that guitar with that thumb?
I was like, I feel like he's just faking it, but I mean,
he was playing cool. It was just like, I was like, don't do that.
But no, and then like I remember there was a video on YouTube, and I bet a bunch of people remember it. And my concept from about music at that time, especially like rap, because rap, the biggest thing at the time was you're supposed to make, that's pretty much what separates you. You write everything.
Yeah.
You don't sing, you don't play instruments. You got some rhythm, you know what I'm saying? And you got poetry. That's supposed to be the thing, right? Rhythm and poetry, rap. So I remember a video came out by Wayne, and it was like some of it were like covers. At the time I didn't really understand the concept of covers from a rapper, which is still not like a thing.
Yeah.
But like he covered like Bar Baby by Big Mo. Bar Baby. And I was like, I'm like, he stole the whole song. Oh my God. He stole the whole song. Man, can you believe he stole Big Mo's song, fool? And then the whole video was just talking about like when he was just using other people's lines on songs. So it was like Juvenile, obviously, which he was in a group with Juvenile, the Hot Boys. Mm-hmm. And it was like Jay-Z, somebody he really looked up to, Jadakiss, you know what I'm saying? And these weren't from like really big songs. But then the cool thing about hip hop is like, what I started to get is like hip hop is pretty much all that you have to take from it, right? I mean, it starts from DJs scratching things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then the beats come from samples. You're always taking from something else.
Yeah.
And then you'll have like the little niches like bounce music, which all of them, every single, which kind of like reggae always has it has a name. And reggaeton has the same thing. That little, to make it basically reggae, it has to have that.
Oh, okay.
Whatever it's called, it has a name, but you know what I'm referring to?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So, and in New Orleans or in Louisiana, a lot of it has like the Trigger Man beat. So, like a bunch of the bounce music, it's almost sounds like the same. I mean, no, a lot of it is like the same song.
Yeah.
Over and over. Just a different person wrote something different to it. You know what I'm saying? They might even use some lines from the last person's song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I would just listen more. And I would all of a sudden, I'd be like, wait, that sounds like this song that my mama listens to. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll use, like, Pimp C's Coming Up. You know what I'm saying? The song, that's from, like, a Luther Vandross song. You know what I'm saying? That was, like, one of my favorite Pimp C songs for the longest. And then I'm a smaller child, and all of a sudden I hear my mom play Luther Vandross. And I'm like, Luther Vandross stole that song from Pimp C. You know what I'm saying? My mom was like, boy, you know what I'm saying? But so And Zero's another one where I started noticing like, okay, they use a lot of references to other ones, and now that I'm a big fan, I really appreciate it because the first thing I say is like, okay, he listens to the same thing I listen to, and so like I go in like purposely, like especially like to keep myself like, and since I am like a casual listener to with music, I listen to kinds of different things. I think it's cool to connect those words, you know.
Yeah.
Connect those worlds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and just bringing in. I think it's cool. I love to draw inspiration from it. Now I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll go in and, you know, now I won't do it like there's some artists. Drake is one who will like use like almost like if he's got a 16 bar verse, Drake will do like, man, like 8 lines.
I've seen it still like a whole thing. And that I was gonna mention that. I was like, you had that like thing with Lil Wayne watching that video. I did the same thing with like a Drake video. I'm like, this dude is stealing like, but it was like a lot. I feel like so there's like I get like doing like a few lines here and there to like what it's I think this is the word alliterate. I don't know, like just to show reference to like something else illusion. And like be like there you go, illusion. But like to show reference because maybe like that reference fits into like what they're doing on their song, and most of the time it works. But like on the Drake like video that I saw where it shows like every like line that he's taking, I was like, he takes a lot.
It's like,
of these
whoa,
lines.
yeah, it's a lot.
Like I think like I don't know, I can't remember the song right now, but he took it from like Slick Rick, and I'm like, that's the whole verse, like that's all of it, and I'm like, man, that's a lot to take. Like,
so look, my business side starts to think like, you know what? What if what he did was actually the realest thing? Like, what if the artist on the song didn't actually pay him for the feature? So he wasn't gonna waste his, and then he gave like, let's say Slick Rick or Project Pat, you know, say he gave them publishing because he used it, you know. So what if he really just did the realest thing ever?
That's
you know what
true.
I'm saying? All he did. Now I don't know if that
we
really
don't know.
happened. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking that's sometimes that's what I like was put into my head because I think it was on that what was it? I forgot the JB Black Boy. Oh man. I can't remember the song that he had. It was the song that you know what I'm talking about, right? He's the dude who made the Shoot dance. Shoot. Look who I'm around. I don't know. Anyways, well, yeah. Drake on there, he did like, which makes sense because if I understand it correctly, and I might be wrong, I'm not. I think I'm right though. I think Drake's dad is from Memphis, and J-Boy Block B is from Memphis, and who knows? For all I know, the beat had a sample, but Project Pat from 3 6 Mafia. Drake took like I don't know how many lines from it, but it was a sizable portion of the verse. You know what I'm saying? Where it was just directly from a Project Pat song. I mean, no nothing. He didn't tailor it or nothing. You know, I mean, he tailored it to match the beat. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, that's kind of crazy. But like, okay, he gets on this Black Boy, JB Black Boy song, which is gonna blow up because he's on it. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine JB Black Boy could have afforded a Drake verse at the time.
True.
You know, and then excuse me, and then you know, maybe, you know, Project Pat, she probably has to get paid from that, right? I mean, he used, you know, a bunch of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty real. And that's a hit song. That's probably not bigger than any song Project Pat has put out. Because Project Pat's got some big songs, Sipping on Scissor, you know what I'm saying, Chicken Head. But I'm sure that definitely helped his.
It's got to be something because you don't hear about like
nobody crying about it.
Bitching about it. So I'm like, oh, it's got to be a thing where they work something out, and let's say like to whoever's like looking for it is gonna be like, oh, he's stealing this shit. But I'm sure there's something. Yeah, because like,
thank you.
Because those are
steal more. Listen to my whole album. Take it. You know what I'm saying? Please.
I ain't written shit in years. I need to get paid. Please.
No, well, and also too, you know what I'm saying? Because those are the trailblazers of the genre, like a 3 6 Mafia.
Yeah,
they're the So when you have somebody who's at the pinnacle of anybody, well, in music, period. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who's really bigger than Drake? You know what I'm saying? In the Anglo market.
Yeah.
I'd say that in the Anglo market and really in the Western hemisphere in general, but I really go as far to say worldwide. There's only so many people who are bigger than him. And I think that's also like a big nod. That's a nice gesture. Like, hey, these people, they were around when the music was coming up. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't get to enjoy everything that I'm enjoying. You know what I'm saying? But I'm enjoying it because of what they put. So let me spit that. And then maybe some other people one day when they're looking it up, they see a Project Pat. Then they go listen to Project Pat, who they see influence me. And they get put on to, 3 6 Mafia, which is, legendary.
Which hopefully that's part of the sentiment, like, into doing that. Because I feel like I did it. I think I can think of one instance where I did it. And it was, there's a song, there's a song by a band called Dance Kevin Dance. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's me and Zoloft get along fine. But anyways, like the line goes, I think it just goes like, I should have listened to your friends. You would have been over this by now. And on one of the songs that we wrote, I like saying that, like, listen to your friends, like, so I mine, like, the melody's different and everything, but it says, I think I just say, you should have listened to your friends and something else. But anyways, that little bit for me, I'm like, for me, that was a nod to like them. I was like, not because like, oh, I'm trying to steal this, but more because like, I really like that band. Like, and that was cool. And it fit to what I was saying, like, sort of. And I got to add it like into that. And then for me, like, when people ask for it, like, I think even like Richard, who was in the actual band, just got it like a few months ago, who messaged me. He's like, hey, did you say this because of like this song in this band? And I was like, yeah, that's why. You know what I mean? Like, so just like little tidbits and stuff like that. But it was more of an admiration because I love that band. Like, it's more of showing like a little nod and like respect to like, this is one of my biggest, it's one of my biggest like, you know, influences at the time that worked with this. And I'm like, oh, let me just like do a little thing for myself, really, just like, you know, because I liked it, but maybe someone will pick up on it again, and which has happened. You know, I've had a few people like ask about it, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, it kind of like helped and built purposes, and most of it was, you know, it's a flattery thing, it's an admiration thing more than anything. Well, that's really cool. I like how you take in, like I said, all the influences and work it into your own music and purposely do that. You know what I mean? Like there's times where you purposely do that, and it helps write interesting music and push yourself, your writing abilities, and being like, oh, you know, just because you can copy a style doesn't mean you can execute it like well enough. But there's a difference between copying it and then taking influence from it and like, let me build something off of like this idea and using it to your skill set. And I feel like I've seen you do that quite a bit and do it well. And I really can't wait for like you to start, you know, dropping that music that I've heard you work on. Because I know it's gonna be really great, and you're gonna be up to some really nice stuff like lately. But
with you in my corner, I believe so. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, we might have something that got worked
years.
on. We might have something. I don't know. It might be out there. It might be out there.
You understand what I'm saying? Right. Stay tuned.
But yeah, definitely, man. Like, I know we're gonna stay tuned. I'm definitely always tuned into like what you're up to, and I definitely love like how close we've gotten like over the years, and how we've like kind of kept up with each other and helped each other. I mean, this podcast wouldn't really be like even happening without you. Like, you're lending me like one of the cameras and let me borrow it, and just the fact that like we're able to like to go back and forth and like help each other out based on like that we recognize that each other is like working towards something, and we want to be like each other's like, you know, not driving forces, but if there's anything we can do to help, it's kind of like you accomplish something. I feel like we both have the same attitude, along with like DJ and like people, like the team that we seem to be building around. It's like, oh, okay, we're gonna help in whatever capacity we can. If I can do something, you know, to help you get to like where you're going, then if I can help, like, I want to do that for you.
No, all I would like, the only true thing that I maybe not even as demand of you, you know what I'm saying, is just to keep pushing the envelope, you know what I'm saying, on your side and growing, you know what I'm saying, because I think you can really, I know you're gonna accomplish a lot, you know what I'm saying. I know you're a very talented person, you're a very driven person, you're very able with your people skills, you know what I'm saying. I think you can do a lot as long as you truly want to, you know what I'm saying, as long as you make it a point. So that's, you do that, and I know, like, I'm not like the greatest at, you know what I'm saying, whatever, you know what I'm saying, but I know I've been very I've done a good job of surrounding myself with folks who can get things done, so to speak, and I know you're one of them, you know what I'm saying. Like, I think this is going to be a big deal. Have you ever seen Gutter TV?
I think you started sending me something. Yeah,
so,
you told me about
Webby,
it.
Yeah, Webby. You gonna be big. That's how every episode starts. You gonna be big. Gutter TV, man. You gonna be big, and I mean that. You know what I'm saying. You gonna be big. Like, as long as you want to, as long as you say, you know, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna grow. 100%. I think this is like a good round for you.
I think it's definitely something I've always, not always, like since I like started actually listening to podcasts and stuff like that, it seemed like a cool idea, and it's always just like that'd be neat to do. And I even tried it before by myself, kind of thing. But this, literally, after I did the first one, the interview, I felt great, like the podcast itself, because it really wasn't like an interview, and I like that. I'm like, oh, we're just talking, like that's cool, like I like that. And then I got the first one edited and finished, and I'm like, I enjoyed that a lot more than I initially thought I would, because and like being blatant about it, like initially we're like, oh, we want to do it just to highlight some artists off the festival and like make just give a little bit extra umph to the festival. That was it. And we planned like 6 episodes, just in time for the festival, like, and that's kind of gonna be it. And then once I started doing it, and I'm like, oh, like this can be something, and I started seeing it for what it could be, and I'm like, oh, like it can highlight people that are working out here, that are hustling, that are like great artists that I admire. And for another thing, it just satisfies my own curiosity. Like I'm giving myself the platform to where I can talk to cool people all the time. And
Right.
I'm being like, a musician and artist like myself, like it doesn't matter in what it format it comes in. Like I can talk to like anybody and be like fascinated, like, oh, what are you doing? Like, oh, I had the dudes in Blaze culture, which I'm like, I don't know anything like really about. Like I know the gist about like skateboarding and stuff like that and things like. But talking to them, I'm like, I get to be like, oh, like so what do you guys do about this? And there's like a bunch of like vendors that are supposed to come on here that I don't know anything about, like their market and stuff like that. But being able to just sit there and poke someone's brain about it, and like them wanting to tell you, because like I love,
And the
one of
thing
my
you're
favorite
doing
things.
is you're building like I know you just said that you don't know all about this. You might have, but you know who else didn't know a lot of about whoever they were always interviewing?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? Even I'd say even a Vlad, even a No Jumper. I'd say. I mean, I could be wrong about that one, but I'd say definitely a Joe Rogan.
But you learn, and it's very cool. And even like I said, like some of these artists are artists that I really, actually, like everyone that I put on here, I think I knew everybody except for Tony Love, which I got to talk to him. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like having a conversation with him, I'm like, oh, like, and then I listened
Shout
to
out
like
Tony
some of his
Love.
music, and I'm like, okay, like how does he write this stuff? Like how does he do this? Like it's not the same approach like anybody else takes. Like everybody's is different. The first 3, I had my friend Jesse, Ryker, and then the Bad Astronauts on here, and I'm like, oh, I kind of know them, so like I was a little more comfortable with them than talking this and that. With Tony, like I'm like, oh, I was just meeting Tony that day. I've seen him perform, and I've like listened to his music. I was like, but I'm just meeting him today. It's like this is our first conversation we're having together, and it's like it's on a podcast or whatever. But treating it that way, and it's a genuine thirst for just being curious about like, hey, how do you go about doing what you do? Because one of my favorite things to do is literally playing. It's playing to my strength in this, but I love talking to people about what they're passionate about, because you won't get a better like conversation from someone actually giving a crap about what they're telling you about. Like if you ask me about my job, I'm going to take like a minute or two to tell you what I do. Like if you ask me about projects that I'm working on or like stuff that I enjoy doing, like I will talk your ear off. Like I will talk to you like, for hours. And it's conversations that like with Jesse I've had before. With you, I know we've had like conversations about music, and then it branches off into like other stuff. Like we can talk, about these things, because like again, we're like passionate like about like what we're doing and things that we enjoy. And that's all this podcast is letting people highlight what they love and talk as much as they want about it. Because I'm fine. Like we can go until like this thing runs out of memory, which we kind of ran into that issue already today, or until the camera overheats. But like there's no time limit. This and that. It's just a natural feel to it, and I feel like that's the easiest way to do it. But again, I honestly really appreciate with the help that you've had like in hand in this. Again, it's one of the reasons why I curate the people that I have around me like a lot more now. And you're definitely one of those people that I love having around, because it's like I said, inspires me to drive and to push forward. And it seems impossible at certain times, like that things are possible, but like I think that was my attitude a lot more before, but now with you around, with like DJ around, like working like hard, it's like, oh, these things aren't like, just seeing what he did with Chill Sounds and Chill Sounds and Breakdowns like this past like Saturday. I'm like, this dude did it. Like I stood there and people heard me like my girlfriend heard me a bunch of times just like look around and just be like, this motherfucker did it. Like the whole time, like I said it like 4 different times out loud, and people caught me saying it because I just stared around and I'm like, this dude did it. You know what I mean? Like stuff like this can be done. You know, something that I knew he was working on. I saw him work on it, like, you know, constantly and consistently.
Yeah, because you were around, you know, just like
I saw the whole process.
One.
You know what I mean? Like I literally saw the entire process. Every idea that happened there, like. I'm not gonna say ran by me, but like he like mentioned to me before, so I knew all these things. I'm like, how? Like, how did you get like these guys to show up? Like, how did you get this to happen?
He's great, and I told him that from the first time when we collaborated. When he hollered at, you know what I'm saying? When he hollered at me, he was just like, "Hey, this is the idea I could have. This is the idea I have. You know, let's make it happen." And I was like, "All right, you know, we're gonna make it happen." You know, and I know him. He probably knows this now, but. Really, and when he first called me for the first one and the second one, I was like, he could probably get it done on his own. He just hadn't had that, you know, that demonstration of competence yet. Yeah. Maybe he just felt like, you know, I don't know. You know, so we came and we did our part, but you know what I'm saying? Undoubtedly, you know, he did his thing. He was the magic fairy dust, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That made it exciting. Same with the second one, you know, where he was a bit more comfortable, you know what I'm saying, and added that extra razzle dazzle.
Which is how like he was able to push, like because he had like some of that confidence, and also like the shows that he's working with you guys that they've been putting on, like again, it's just building. It's all got to build. It's all got to be about building and growth. Yeah, that makes us
proud as a company because you know what I'm saying. Like we love to. That's what it is. You know, aeronautics is the science of progression.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember when you had the definition tees.
Yeah.
That's what it used to say, the science of progression. And I mean, and yeah, watching him work with us, kind of, you know, as a collaborative partner, you know, then applying what he's got with us to that, and then make Chill Sounds and Breakdowns to what it was. You know, there's. Kind of goes back to what we're talking about with the music. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
To see that our influence that we had on that's great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you too. So like you know what I'm saying? I speak for the company when I say, you know, Tough Daddy. When I say whatever. You know what I'm saying? No, you know, bang my line for whatever idea you have, no matter how capricious or preposterous it is in nature. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, holla, and, you know, I definitely see what I can, you know what I'm saying, what I can swing, you know, we can get done, because we about everything. We're about the podcast, you know, Aerovision. We want to do, not necessarily a podcast like this, but something similar. Like when you and I spoke about the clothing, you know what I'm saying? That's always a thing. Push the envelope on that. The music, the shows, working with the schools, you know what I'm saying? You know, growing. That's it. That's all. Working with bands, rappers, whatever you want to be. I'll do a freak show if you tell me. You get some of them, those dudes with. When I was in Houston, they were talking about that the last time I went. They were talking about like the dudes who have like, I don't know, no bottom or whatever, no bottom part of their body.
Oh, just like a torso.
Yeah, you know, then the dudes who can like hang from the ceiling with, I don't know, the hooks or whatever it's supposed to be.
Oh, I've seen that. Ooh,
yeah, like freak shows. This is what I do a whole freak show tour. You know, I'm with it. I do a circus. You know, find me the giraffe or whatever, or the elephant. Let's do a circus. You know what I'm saying? We're about all that. You know what I'm saying? All of it. Everything.
It's just about finding, like, it doesn't matter. Literally, I think, like you guys, like, doesn't matter the idea. It matters that there's someone willing to put in the work to do it. Like, that's. I feel like that's at the root of like what it is and what's helped you guys progress and be where you guys are today. And no, I definitely appreciate the support and stuff like that. I appreciate you coming on today.
Season you up.
Absolutely. And again, I can't like wait to see what you and like Aeronotiqz has planned for the future. I'm sure it's going to be bigger and better than what we've already seen. So we're definitely excited for that. But again, Dizzi Davis, look that dude up on everything. He's got a bunch of music streaming now. Look up for Aeronotiqz for future shows. They got a bunch. Anything you want to plug in that's happening?
Oh man, just all the show. Be waiting on us in Jacksonville. Jacksonville, Florida. Be waiting on us in Tampa. Wait on us in Miami. We all coming. All the flyers are dropping soon. Memphis, we coming back. We go to Houston tomorrow. You know, it's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? We're going back to Austin. San Antonio going again. New Orleans, Louisiana, we praying for you. You know what I'm saying? Because we had some set it out there with 504 Icy Girl. Shout out to her. You know what I'm saying? Nashville, we coming to holla. Los Angeles, San Francisco, we coming to holla. Tijuana, we coming to holla. You know what I'm saying? Medellin, we coming to holla. Cartagena, Barranquilla, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Everything's that's in the making. You know what I'm saying? So just follow us on the IG. You know, Aeronotiqz, and then the other one is Aero Life Shows. My personal IG is Dizzi Davis, Dizzi Davis. We might be at a school near you. I'm really working on connecting like the school stuff to everything we got going as far as like donations and events. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we working, trying to hit all continents, trying to hit all areas. And shout out to my dog right here. You know what I'm saying? I done seen this fool grow and support. You know what I'm saying? For a long, grow as a man, grow as a businessman. You know what I'm saying? And I'm excited to see what this grows into. I think it's gonna trip y'all out where he's at in like the next, I'd say 18 months. You know what I'm saying? Keep that consistency, that 18 months. It'd be something nuts. You know what I'm saying? And I'll definitely make sure that we do our part. Like I said, just bang my line. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna start doing interviews in other languages too. I'm a big proponent of other languages, so we out here.
Una vez más, gracias a Dizzi Davis por pasar y hablar con nosotros el día de hoy.
Sí, señora, estamos aquí a la orden siempre. Así es nomás. ¿No?
Bueno, pues gracias por parar por aquí y recuerden a seguir a Chill Sounds y Breakdowns en el YouTube.
En el YouTube, Facebook, Instagram y Twitter.
Y el Instagram. El Twitter todavía no estamos tuitando, pero ahí en el
saludo.
All right, man. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it.
Holla.